processing, and after processing it, they'll say answer, right? So that is based on the data what you enter. Now sometimes you put something blank, then immediately they'll say these fields are what required. These fields are required. It means that is a validation or not? Yes. But how you are building that forms? You build that forms directly using which one? Design. You are building that forms directly by using design only. So it means developing forms makes it very simple because it allows you to communicate. Means form, I say no, these forms are two types. One is a normal form and one more is what? Model form. A model form represent model form means a form bind with what? Model. It means using that form, what I can do, I can edit the data, I can add the data, I can delete the data without writing or without executing any query. Means you don't require to write anything. That is already represent one model. Form represent model. Means you do everything on what? Form. You want to add the data exist in the form, you directly add it by creating instance of model and then create it. So performing the crude operations becomes what? Easy. By representing in the form of which forms? Django forms. I'm saying now developing a web application using Django is very easy because it is providing so many facilities which makes it coding is what more simpler compared to other backend programming like suppose if you work with Java you find Spring and Spring Boot, right? And if you work with .NET you find ASP.NET, but there you need to write a lot of code, but that can be avoided when it comes to what? Python. That is in Django everything is provided by design. So it will try to reduce the complexity in developing what? Application. It will try to reduce the complexity in developing what? Application. Okay. Yes. What is CSRF token? I said in the beginning, but anyway, what is CSRF token? CSRF token. CSRF stands for CSRF. Okay, stands for cross-site cross-site request forgery. Cross-site request forgery. Cross-site request forgery. That is what you mean by CSRF. That is the meaning of CSRF. It is nothing but now CSRF token. Okay, CSRF not for session, every request. So CSRF token is generated by server. What is a token? Is a key. Okay, is generated by server. Token is nothing but token is nothing but what here? Key is a key which is exchange between client and what is that? Server. This is exchange between the client and server. I mean, there you go. Suppose you want to take you want to take some, okay, suppose you order something, okay, you order something in Amazon or somewhere. If you want to take that order, okay, is delivered, then it'll ask for what? OTP. It'll ask for what? OTP. OTP is with you or not? Yes. If you tell correct OTP, then only deliver. If you say wrong OTP, it will deliver. No. Suppose he'll go to some other address. He'll go to some other address and he'll ask for what? OTP. Then if you give wrong OTP, then is it delivered or not delivered? Not delivered. He'll not recognize this order is not yours because it's given which OTP? A wrong OTP. But who will generate the OTP? Amazon people, Amazon server only, right? It will generate one OTP and send to whom? Customer, customer mobile. So whenever order is delivered, he'll try to identify the OTP number. In the same way, cross site means sometimes what will happen is you'll get some what you call dummy links. Sometimes what will happen, you'll get some dummy links. Getting on a dummy links where you click on that link and send what? Request. Then when you send a request, then what will happen? That request is having any token? No. If the request doesn't have a token, what will happen? It will not recognize, okay, this request is come from what? This request is come from what? Same person. The request is come from what? Same person. Is given some other OTP number. Is given some other OTP number. This is to avoid which one? Scam, or you'll say security. For providing what here? Security. Okay, you'll have hackers, right? Hacking techniques. There are so many hacking techniques are there. One of the hacking technique is cross-site request forgery. Forgery. Forgery means suppose your signature is forger. Your signature is forged or not? Yes. Signature. If you take signature only, it looks like you are only, but it is forgery. Getting honored. Suppose you go to bank where you'll give some notes. That is forgery. I mean, that notes are not original. Notes are what? Duplicate. They'll verify it. Certain things within the note are not. Yes. So whenever you give a check, they'll try to verify is a signature match or not match. It look like a same, but it is what? Forgery. It is forgery, right? For it looks like a same. It looks like a site is to look like what? HDFC only. But it is not. It looks like a HDFC only, but it is not HDFC. It is not HDFC. Getting or not? So that can be avoided. That can be avoided. Yes. That can be avoided by generating one security number, and that security number is called which one? Token. You can bypass. If you bypass it, it doesn't. If you bypass this token, then your server not recognize. Your server will not recognize the request is come from the same client. Server will not recognize you because that request doesn't have a token. If it is having a token, then only it recognize the request is come from the same person. Otherwise, it doesn't recognize. It doesn't recognize, right? So token is nothing but a key which is exchanged between the client and what? Server. So whenever request is sent, when request is sent, when request is sent using which method? Post method. And post is a method which is secured. Post method is secured or not? Yes. So it is required. When request is sent using post method, it required to generate. It required to generate which one? CSRF token. CSRF token. CSRF token. Now that is in encrypted format, dear students. That is in encrypted format. Token is, I say token send करे तो कोई भी ले लेता है यार. So that is in encrypted format. The token is in what? Encrypted format. The token is encrypted format. So when request is sent using post method, it required to generate CSRF token, and This is generated using. This is generated using. What is that tag is? CSRF. CSRF token tag. This is a tag. CSRF underscore what is a token. This is a tag which is used for generating token. Token is nothing but a key. Token is nothing but a key. Okay. So this is sent as a part of cookie, as a part of request to whom? Server. Yes, it is sent as a part of request to which one? Server. Right? So you have to understand this. Now, whenever form is sent, whenever template is rendered, whenever template is what? Render within the response, it will generate one key. It will generate one key by using which tag? CSRF token tag. And that token is sent to whom? Browser. And after submitting, after entering the data, when you click on submit, when you click on submit, it will send this data along with what? Token to whom? Server. And server will identify is it is it this token is same or not. Okay, is it this token is same or not? Because it is stored in what? Browser, right? Browser. Okay, so it is sent to the browser, and after entering the data, when you click on submit, it will send the data along with what? Token. To whom? Server. And server recognize is it this token and generated token both are same. If it is same, then it allows. If it is not same, then it doesn't allows. So there is no chance of what we call it as cross-site request forgery. Okay. So that is what you mean by CSRF token. It is only done when you are sending the data using which method? Post method, because post is a request where the data is sent as a part of request body. Where the data is sent as a part of request body. It is encrypted format. You cannot identify that it is in encrypted format. CSRF token is in encrypted format. A unique secret unpredictable value generated by web server and embedded in a web page, usually as a hidden form field to prevent attackers from tracking users into performing unwanted actions. The server check if the token is submitted request match the one it is expect, ensuring that request genuinely came from the same user own session. Otherwise it doesn't process it. Otherwise it doesn't process it. Okay, take this one also. But that you are generating it by using CSRF token. So ethical hacking is a very big subject. Okay, ethical hacking is hacking. Hacking course is there. How to hack. Okay, and they'll teach you how to hack. They'll teach you how to avoid. Okay, ethical hacking is very big subject. Okay, so hackers will try to use different approaches for hacking which one? Website or servers. Hacking is very big, right? So now you need to developing web application is easy, but providing security for your web application is very complex. Getting on it. Okay. So security means don't think that usernames and passwords. That is only authentication and authorization. Okay. But that usernames and passwords should provide security again. Okay. So they'll try to do a lot of approaches. I said no ORM. ORM prevent what? SQL injection. ORM prevent what? SQL injection. SQL injection means inserting some malicious information within the input data so that the query behavior get changed and get the data from where? Database. Get the data from database. Okay. So hackers will use different techniques to hack your website. Okay. So what is Django forms? Is it clear on this one? What is CSRF token is? Token is nothing but a key. Okay. Token is nothing but which one? Key. So CRF token is generated by server and sent as a part of template. Send as a part of template to whom? Browser. Send as a part of template or send as a part of response to whom? Browser. So that whenever client send a request, it will send along with the token. If the token match, then only it will process that request. If the token doesn't match, then it doesn't process the request. Correct or not? If token match, it will process the request. If token doesn't match, then it doesn't process the request. Suppose if you get forgery link means dummy link. You have which link? Dummy link. Dummy link you enter. In dummy link, what will happen? You enter the data and submit. Then it will go to some other server. Okay, it will go to some other server from one place to it will go to what? Another place. In that case, it will try to verify is it this token is having is it this request is having a token or not? Yes. Django forms. Django forms. So form is an object. Django form. What is Django form is? Django form is an object. It is an object. When I'm saying it is an object, and always the object is created using class. Always the object is created using class. Okay, always the object is created using class. So Django form is an object where okay where okay user where user input what will input data. Okay, Django form is an object where user input data, and whatever data you input, that data is what again? Validated. The data is what? Validated and submit to submit to which one? Submit. Sorry. Okay, submit to which one? Model. Submit to model. And submitting the model, it is not compulsory. That based on your application. So Django form is an object where user input data, validated and submit to whom? Model. So Django form is rendered. Django form is rendered within what here? Template, and send it to which one? Client. So client is nothing but whom here? Browser. Who's the client here? Browser. Client is nothing but a browser. Okay. So it means as a developer, as a web developer, you don't require to create an HTML form. You don't require to create an HTML form. You don't require to create an HTML form. How you create a form in HTML like this? HTML, okay, and you'll write the head and what is this body and then form. And here you design the form or not? Yes. Form where you input the data. You'll say input type is what? Text. Then you'll say input type is what? Radio. Input type is what? So all these are input type is radio. Input type is a checks. All these are input fields are not? Yes. Now you don't require to create these fields. You don't require to create these fields. You don't require to create these fields. Okay. You don't require to do this. You don't require to do this. You are doing this you are doing this by using which object? Form object. This is done using which object? Django form object. This is done using a form object. You don't require to define this input fields. You develop this input fields by writing one class. By writing one class. This is which form? Assume that employee form. This is which form? Employee form. Employee form inherit from which one? Form. So employee form is which type? Form type. Employee is a form. Employee form is a form. What employee form is having? Employee number. Employee form is having employee number. Employee form is having employee name. Employee form is having what? Salary. Employee number is which type? Integer field. Then you can check the validations. Okay, this employee name is which type of character field. Salary is which type of float field. You created form. You created input fields. You created how many input fields? Three input fields. What is the first one is employee number. What is the second one is employee name. What is the third one is salary. Now after creating this form, you render this form. You don't require to write this. Already this is written in what? This input types are this input fields are defined in what? Django form. And this form you render into what? Template. You render this form within the template. Means you don't require to write this. You don't require to write this. Instead of writing this, you develop this by using which object? Django form object. And this form you insert here. You insert this form. Which form are you inserting? Django form. Assume that this is my form object. Form as which one? Table. Form as a table. Then when you say form as a table, it will render this form as a table with rows and what? Columns. It will render this form as a table in the form of rows and columns. Means is it required to define the input? No. So you define all these input fields as which one? Form object. You define all these input fields as which object? Form object. When it is render, so automatically your server will generate which fields? Input fields. So who will generate this? Server will generate. Server will generate table row input type. Input type is what? Number. Input type is what? Number. Input type is a number. And then what is the name of this is? Employee number. Are you writing this? Are you writing this or generated by the server? Generated by the server based on what? Form fields. Form fields defined inside what? Django form object. Django form object. Are you getting what I'm telling you? Bolo here, yes or no? So you are developing a form. What is a form? A form is an object where you input the data. You input the data. Okay, form is an object where you input the data. But till now you created which form? You develop which form? HTML. You develop a form in HTML. But now you are developing a form in what? Django. And this you render into what? Template. You insert this form into what? Template. Template means HTML. You are inserting this form into template. You are developing a form using Django and you are inserting this form into template. What is the advantage? What is the advantage? Validations. As a developer, you don't require to do validations using what? JavaScript. You do the validations using which code? Python code. You do the validations by using which code? Python code. You don't require to write the things in what? JavaScript. You do the validations in Python. And what is the advantage? A form can communicate with what? Model. You reduce the code in order to do certain operations on what? Model. You want to update the model, you want to delete the model, you want to update the model, or you want to delete, or you want to retrieve, then you don't require to write much code to execute for creating model instance. Your model form is itself treated as which one? Model. Getting on. So performing operations on the database also becomes very easy. Performing operations on the database also it becomes what? Easy by creating which forms? Model form. So you are writing a form in Django and you render this form within the template. Template. So Django forms are Django forms are two types. Okay, okay, one is a form. I'm just writing a form, and one more is which one? Model form. So there are two types of forms are there. One is a form, and one more is a model form. So form which doesn't bind with the database. A form doesn't bind with the database. Doesn't bind with database. A form doesn't bind with database or model. Okay. But model form bind with bind with what? Database. Model form bind with the database. It work like a model. Model form work like a model. So where you can do the operations directly on the database. For working with the forms, so Django provide one package, Django dot. Okay, Django dot. What is the name of that is forms. Django dot forms. Django is a package and forms is a sub package. Okay, forms is a module. Generally, you'll say every package also one module because whenever you import the package, what it will import? One module. One module or not? Yes. Which module is imported? When you import package, which module is imported? Follow here. For example, you write like this, no? Import. What is that? NumPy. When you say import NumPy, NumPy is what? Modular package. Package. NumPy is a package. NumPy is a package. Yes. But import is used for importing package or modular module. Using import, you cannot import the package. It import what? Module. Now tell me NumPy is a package or modular? Using import, you import what? Package or modular? Module. Using import, you import the module. Then NumPy is a package or module? Both are not good. Both नहीं बोलना एक ही बोलना यार. NumPy is a module. बोलो यार. Package है module है. Package है. NumPy library. Very good answer. This is library. Khatam. NumPy is a library. Which type of library? Which type of library? Yeah. You can avoid. I mean, uh, library. In Python, libraries are called modules and packages. Modules and packages. Yes or no? Modules and packages. Huh? So numerical methods. Array. NumPy. What is NumPy? Huh? So open source library. Library. So you said library, right? You said from here. Okay. Okay. So, but according to this, what do you call it as official documentation, right? What is NumPy is package. But import will import the package modular module. But NumPy is what? Package. फिर बोलो. बोल दिए. पैकेज बोल के बोले. पर इंपोर्ट दोनों. दोनों कैसे होता है यार? एक ही होता. Import package. No module, right? I said like maybe क्या हुआ यार? भूल गए. भूल गए. So which module is referred with package name? पैकेज के अंदर एक मॉड्यूल रहता. NumPy inside this one magic module is there. init.py. Tell me this init.py is referred with what name? Package name. It means whenever you say import, क्या हुआ यार? भूल गए? बोले, बोले, मैं नहीं सुना. So import numpy. If you say numpy, which module is imported? Init.py. This init.py is referred with what name? Package name. So import is used for importing module. Which module is imported with the package name? Init.py. After importing numpy, you'll say numpy dot. What is this? Array. Yeah, array function कहाँ पे है? Not in init.py. In init.py, in numpy, there is one more package is there called core. Core functions. All core functions will be there in another package. What is that package is? Core. And whatever in core package, again there is one module. And whatever functions are there in this module, all these functions are imported at which level? Package level. Package level by importing in what? Init.py. So what is init.py? Abhi, what is init.py? What is init.py? What is init.py? It is a module. Very good. It is a module. क्यों बोला तो py बोला तो module ही है. और बोलो. It refers अभी मैं जो बोलो वही बोल रहे फिर. हाँ. What is the use of init.py? हो गया. खत्म. हाँ. पाइथन खत्म. नंबर भी खत्म. ओके. पाइथन खत्म. नंबर खत्म. अभी डीजैंगो भी. अभी नहीं नहीं थोड़ा टाइम लगता है. कैसे HTML खत्म. जावा स्क्रिप्ट खत्म. CSS भी खत्म. हाँ. पूरा खत्म कर दिए. ठीक है. हाँ. ओके नो प्रॉब्लम बट आई नॉट टेल. मैं नहीं बताऊंगा. हाँ क्यों बोला टाइम वेस्ट. हाँ. बताओ. क्यों यार. एक बार. ऑलरेडी क्लास. It may contain instance variables and static methods. अरे अरे अरे. No, you can attend screening test, but what is init.py you don't know. Huh? Huh? What योगिता? अबे स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट में पूछे व्हाट इज init.py. खत्म. हो गया स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट. अभी अभी है ना. हाँ. फिर प्रिपेयर होना ना. यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर. लास्ट टाइम. लास्ट टाइम सो मेनी स्टूडेंट्स रिटर्न. एक बंदा भी प्रोग्राम लिखना नहीं आ रहा उन लोगों को. प्रोग्राम लिखो बोले तो नहीं आ रहा उन लोगों को. प्राइम नंबर लॉजिक भी नहीं आ रहा है. और हाउ यूल गेट ए जॉब यार. फिर आप बोलते कि नरेश शेट्टी वाले स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट कंडक्ट नहीं कर रहे बोल के. कंडक्ट करे तो एक टू मच. प्रोग्राम एक प्रोग्राम भी लिखना नहीं आ रहा. प्रोग्राम सिंपल प्रोग्राम्स. बट यू वांट जॉब. ओए रियलिटी बोल रहा हूँ मैं. हमारे क्लासरूम में बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स हम लोग बताते हैं. बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स. कितना 500 प्रोग्राम्स करे अपन क्लासरूम में ही खाली. फिर क्या करते हैं. एक प्रोग्राम लिखो बोलो तो खत्म. हाउ यूल गेट द जॉब. देखो पाइथन को छोड़ दिए हैकर बनना है इनको. हाँ? So पहले operating system सीखो. First you learn operating system functionalities, networking functionalities, networking. Admin, networking layers. How many networking layers? 7 layers. OS layers? 4. खत्म हो गया. जॉब नहीं आता. रिवर्स बोले. हाँ? OS layers are 7. एकेडमिक हो गया. खत्म. एकेडमिक को ही छोड़ दिए. हाँ? फिर how you become hackers, right? You cannot become. रिवर्स बोल दिए. रिवर्स आता जॉब. हाँ? A form does not bind with the database or model, but model form bind with what? Database. So you can see this. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I just taken this. So Django forms framework is powerful. Okay. See, these are the basics. These are the basics which you need to remember. Okay, these are the basics. My परसों में Python का interview हुआ. Simple questions पूछा यार मैं. What is the difference between list and set or tuple? What is the difference between list and set, list and tuple, list and set? List and set बोले तो पहले एक ही. लिस्ट बोले तो स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट में आता. अब सेट बोले तो करली ब्रेसेस में आता. खत्म हो गया. और बोले बोले तो बस उतना ही. और बोले बोले तो उतना ही. लिस्ट बोले तो इसके अंदर डालना. सेट बोले तो इसके अंदर डालना. खत्म हो गया. जॉब दे देते हैं क्या? हाँ. हाँ वही लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंसेस बताना. वही बताना. सब्जेक्ट जो भी सब्जेक्ट अंदर है वो बाहर लाना. अंदर रखे तो कैसा आता? So Django forms is handling for user input validations and rendering HTML forms. It manages the complexity of web forms, offering secured and structured way to interact with user submitted data. So you can say Django forms are just like a web forms. Okay, because Django form is rendered as what? Web form or HTML form. HTML form and then send it to whom? Browser. It is sent to the browser. So Django forms are developed. Django forms are developed. Django forms are developed using Django dot which package? Forms package. Okay, Django dot forms package using Django dot forms package. So Django dot forms package, but actually package, but internal it import one module. Okay, Django dot forms module. Okay, provides. Okay, two classes. One is called as a form class, and one more is what? Model form class. One is a form class, and one more is a model form class. How many types of forms are there? Two types. For developing a form, you inherit which class? Form class. For developing a model form, you inherit which class? Model form. Model form bind with the model. Means you want to create a form using fields of model. You want to use which fields? Model fields. You want to create a form using which fields? Model fields. It means you don't require to write the fields. It inherit all automatically all the fields available in what? Model and create one form. so that you can input the data and insert directly into what model. So form class, first I'm talking about form class. It is a generic form class. It is it is a generic it is a generic form class. It is a generic form class which is not bind with which is not bind with which is not bind with what model. Generic form class. Generic means it is used for any purpose. For example, EMP model form. EMP model form is used to communicate with which one? Employee model. DBD model form is communicate with DBD model. Okay, customer model form is to communicate with customer model. But form class, it can communicate with what? Any model, because it is not bind with any model. It is not bind with any model. It is a generic form. It is a generic form which is not bind with any model. Means you just create a form and you submit that form data to the view, and view will read that data and perform certain operations. But it is not bind with any model. It is not bind with any model. It is a generic form class which is not bind with any model. So this form data is read by which one? View, and perform which operations? Some generic operations. Performs which operations? Generic operations. Then how to develop a form? You'll say class. What is the syntax? The syntax of developing a form is, okay, the syntax of developing a form is, you are writing a class. Okay, because form is a class, and here you write a class name or form class name or form class name, and this inherit which class? Form class. Every form is inherited from which class? Form class. Form class. It is provided which class? Form class. Inherit all the things from form class. And here you are trying to define the field name and followed by which one? Data type. Data type or the same thing is called as a type. So field name, okay, field name, and it followed by the type. And inside this, so when you are saying a class is a collection of variables and methods. Class is a collection of variables and methods, and here you can write which methods? Validation methods. You can write which methods? Validations methods, and these validations methods can be, you can write the validation, form level validation, and you can have what? Field level validation. You have a form level validation. These validations are two types. One is form level validation. Form level validation One is form level validation, and one more is field level validation. Form level validation, and one more is field level validation. And these validations methods are inherited from which class? Form class. And those validation methods are called some clean methods. Those are called which methods? Clean methods. Those are inherited from which class? Form class. So after developing form, okay, it is rendered within what? Template. Within template using the following methods. Using the following methods. So what are the methods is you are using some tag. Okay, that is form object. This is which object? Form object. You can render as what here? Table. You can render as what? Table. It means this form you can render as a table. Render as a table means it will create. It will create a table with the rows and columns. May see each field is put in one row. Each field is put in one row. Each field is put in one row and generate a rows and columns. Means you don't require to write table row and input type, table row and input type. So whatever fields are there in form class, all these fields are converted to input type, and then insert each field as one row, right? Form as a form as a table, and you are saying form object dot form object dot form object dot as paragraph. You can insert the form as a paragraph. You can insert the form as what? Paragraph. Means each input field is taken as one paragraph. Each input field is taken as one paragraph. That is nothing but as paragraph. And one more is, you can also render this form within the template. You can say form object dot as a unordered list. Unordered list. As which list? Unordered list. Unordered list means where each input field is put in one new. Unordered list means with bullets or without. Without. Unordered list can be numbers. Numbers, huh? No. Unordered list is with symbols. Unordered list is with symbols. Ordered list is with, yes. Unordered list. Unordered list. It will try to put with symbols. What is the default is? Circle. What is the default is? Circle. So you can render this form object within the template. You can render this form object within the template as a table. You can render this form object as a paragraph. You can render this form object as a unordered list. It means finally, to work with the Django, you need to have a knowledge of basic knowledge of which one? HTML. Even you don't require to know JavaScript, because you are trying to do everything at what? Designing of forms only. Means you don't require to check the validations and all the things. You don't require to do it. It is done by using backend or front end background only. You're directly doing at backend. You're directly doing at the backend before submitting the data to what? Model. All the validations you are checking it. So that makes it, developing your application becomes what? Easy compared to other frameworks. Now let us discuss about more on this, not today here, but tomorrow we'll see how to work with the Django forms. But this time we'll try to see with MySQL as well as MongoDB. So each project I'll tell you with one database. Okay, na? Right. So today we'll stop it here and tomorrow we'll continue this. Thank you. Right.